Can y'all hear me? I'm going to open with an invocation, if y'all would bow your heads with me. Lord, thank you for this day. We are meeting today to conduct the matters of business for the Garden City Cooperative. We seek blessings on the meeting we are about to hold. Help guide us as we make governance decisions for the future of our company. Please be our source of wisdom today and help us lead with honor and integrity. As always, we ask for your safety and bounty going forward into the next growing season. In your name we pray. Amen. At this time, the meeting is called to order. Welcome to the 106th Annual Garden City Co-op Inc. Stockholders Meeting. Today we will provide you with an update on your business of your cooperative and share our financial and audit results. We will then hold director elections, which is a critical, important role you as a member have. We will then finish with door prizes and drawings. I appreciate your participation today, and I hope you enjoy the meeting. As for the quorum, the Garden City Co-op Inc. bylaws require a quorum of 5% of the voting membership, or 50 members entitled to vote, whichever is less. We have today 188 members registered this afternoon, and I declare a quorum is present. The official notice of the annual meeting for common stockholders of the Garden City Co-op Inc. was mailed on November 7th, 2025 in accordance with our bylaws. I have here a certification from the Garden City, Kansas Post Office that 1,381 official notices were mailed out on that date. Approval of minutes. The minutes of the 2024 annual meeting were provided with the official notice of the Garden City Co-op Inc. website. I would ask that the minutes be approved as provided. Do I have a motion? Thank you, sir. Do I have a second? Thank you, sir. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any discussion or corrections or questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Minutes are approved. Thank you. Next, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce and recognize past board members, please. If there are any past board members in the audience, if you would, please stand and be recognized at this time. Thank you all very much. Are there any past general managers in the audience today? I did too.
Harley.
Thank you for being here, sir. Next, I'll introduce you to your current board, starting with our Vice Chairman, Gordon Drees, and his wife, Kelly. Our Secretary, Chris Fulmer, and his wife, Dowie. Assistant Secretary Joanna Schmeckley and her husband Brian, Director Kyle Deaver and his wife Alicia, Director Denon Lindenberger and his wife Sarah, Director Zion Roth and his wife Hannah, and our Associate Directors Shane Browning and his wife Kaylin, Jeff Harold and his wife Kathy, Amanda Hands and her husband Tyler, and Garrett Rowe and his wife Adrian. And I'm Clayton Maddox, your chair. My wife Sarah is here today in the back, also a member. Thank you for being here today, honey. Thank you all for being here today.
Now I'd like to introduce the special guests that we invite. These are our peers within the cooperative industry or vendors and suppliers that we rely on to be able to conduct our business. Introducing Stan Stark, the CEO for Alliance Ag and Grain out of Spearville, Kansas. Kendall Poland, CEO for Sublette Co-op. Jason Dinkle and Wyatt Mobley with CHS have joined us today as well. Kayleen Million, one of our auditors from Lindbergh, Vogel, Pierce Ferris. Jason Baker, CEO for Scott Cooperative. Jordan Dawson, Jonathan Leitner, and John Coons for Commerce Bank. Yep, they're there. Scott Anderson, Ashley Wheaton, and Courtney Crawford for Pro Value Insurance. Mark Kogan, a real important person to us. He's our banker with CoBank. Scott Kodrowski, Garden City Community College. Sorry I messed up too. Dennis Burns with Commerce Bank is here as well. And then Kevin Royer with Midland Marketing. He's the CEO for that co-op out of Hayes, Kansas. And then I'd also like to recognize that my spouse, Cassie Boyd, is with us in attendance today as well. Thanks. I'll introduce Kelly Drees to come up and do our audit report for us.
Good afternoon. Thank you for attending the annual meeting of the Garden City Co-op, Inc. As you walked in, to register, you should have received a packet containing a raffle ticket, a ballot for voting, as well as the balance sheet and the statement of operations for the fiscal year ending August 31st of 2025. It's a privilege to stand before you today and reflect on a year that tested our resilience and sharpened our focus. This year was not just about numbers. It was about navigating volatility, managing through global headwinds, and making strategic investments that position us for the future. We completed our annual audit for the fiscal year spanning September 1st, 2024 through August 31st of 2025. Revenue declined by $16 million, with the majority of that in the prices for grain. With disciplined planning and execution, we were able to stabilize gross margins this past year. With increased uncertainty in the market, storage and handling income declined by $500,000 from the prior year. Another notable factor in this year's performance was the reduction in patronage dividends from CHS by $2.8 million. CHS faced their own financial headwinds the last couple of years due to global market disruptions and margin pressure. As a result, their ability to distribute patronage was significantly curtailed compared to prior years. The reduction in this patronage income underscores the interconnected nature of our cooperative system. But as for GCC, we remain committed to focusing and planning on what we can control and to reduce dependency on any single source of income. In total, our other income declined by $3 million. Inflation continued to exert pressure on input costs, particularly in energy, transportation, and labor. While broader inflation moderated slightly, our employee medical plan remained elevated, with healthcare costs rising 7.5% from the previous year. Overall, personnel costs increased 5% over the prior year, which is mostly attributable to more employee hours from a longer wheat harvest this past summer, as well as agronomy's input seasons. Fixed expenses increased $4.7 million this year, with $2.3 million of this from interest costs associated with the rising interest rates impacting the cost of capital. Another $2 million difference in depreciation costs associated with commissioning of River Valley. Other operating expenses stayed relatively flat this past year. And by supporting your co-op, we were able to give back $105,000 to your communities through scholarships, hunger relief programs, local athletic programs, 4-H, and educational events. The annual meeting packet you received highlights GCC's efforts in giving back to our communities, the seventh principle of the cooperative model. All of these factors combined to create one of the most challenging environments we've faced in recent years. We are disappointed with the net loss of $3.4 million, which is a decline of $7 million from the previous year. We are very intentional about setting strategy that will safeguard the balance sheet and provide financial stability in challenging periods like this past year. Departmentally in grain. This year, the grain division operated under extraordinary global pressure. Tariff escalations and shifting trade policies disrupted traditional export channels, while demand patterns changed rapidly as overseas buyers sought alternative origins. These dynamics compressed margin values and created volatility in pricing, adding complexity to our marketing strategies. The addition of River Valley proved critical, enabling us to stage grain for train loading at River Valley, as well as transferring grain from facilities with limited capacity, which created much-needed space during harvest and improved overall flow efficiency. While depreciation and repair costs weighed on our margins, these operational actions underscore our ability to adapt and deliver for the farmers' needs in an environment shaped by global uncertainty and elevated interest rates. The agronomy division navigated a year of mixed conditions and market uncertainty. Global trade disruptions and tariff volatility influenced input costs and demand for crop nutrients, with higher interest rates added pressure to financing seasonal inventories. Despite these challenges, our team delivered strong service levels, supporting growers through a season marked by unpredictable weather and tighter margins. Sales of crop protection products remained steady, and we successfully managed inventories to avoid overexposure in a volatile market. Strategic planning and disciplined purchasing helped mitigate cost increases, ensuring we maintain competitive pricing and reliable supply for our customers. These efforts underscore our commitment to partnering with producers and sustaining profitability in a complex global environment. The energy division experienced strong volume growth this year, led by a 1.6 million gallon increase in diesel sales, even as gasoline volumes declined by 300,000 gallons. Margin compression continued due to global energy market volatility and shifting domestic demand, compounded by elevated interest rates and supply chain disruptions, especially at our Scott City terminal. Despite these challenges, the team upheld operational discipline and delivered consistent, high-quality service to our members. Oil and grease margins remained stable, and DEF sales provided a reliable buffer in a turbulent market. Strategic investments in technology, including the implementation of a new ERP system, are enhancing scalability and positioning us for long-term growth. Additionally, the launch of our AFD bobtail fuel service introduces a more flexible and member-focused delivery option, offering improved convenience and unique billing features that elevate the customer experience. We will now move on to the balance sheet, which is located on the back of the statement of operations. We continue to focus on managing our balance sheet to maintain liquidity, service our debt, and to retire equity when financially feasible. Over the past few years, we have stretched our working capital to fund the River Valley project. We were able to grow working capital by $1.2 million this past year and still invest another $2 million in facility and equity improvements. We also paid off $1.2 million in debt, including fully retiring the Rock Island note. While retiring equity remains a priority for the board of directors has chosen not to distribute an equity redemption this year to safeguard our working capital covenants with our bank. However, we have continued to process equity retirements of $351,000 for estates and inactive accounts throughout the year. While years like this make it hard for us to be able to retire equity, it does provide a significant dollar amount of domestic production activities deduction, or DPAD, to be passed through to our farmers. This deduction can provide major tax reduction to our eligible producers and helps keep cash on the farm. The co-op has passed back $27.6 million in DPAD over the last 9 years. This is just one of the many ways that the co-op model continues to provide benefits to its members. Due to the financial loss on a tax basis this year, there will be no distribution of patronage earnings back to our members. Your board of directors has elected to pass through $4 million of Section 199AG, or DPAD, back to our members. The breakdown is $2.4 million for grain and $1.6 million for crop production purchases. This equates to a rate of 21.9 and 3.29% for crop production purchases. Even though this was a challenging year, we are grateful that we made it through the year and for what we have learned. We will continue to focus on cooperatively creating value for our customers by trying to continue to grow the business and connect our farmers to the world. We appreciate your business and hope that you all have a safe and bountiful harvest this next year. I would now like to invite Kayleen Million, our auditor from Lindbergh, Vogel, Pierce & Ferris, to present on our audit opinion.
Hi, my name's Kayleen Million. Nick wasn't able to be here today, so I am going to stand in for him. I'm one of the auditors on the Garden City Co-op audit. I'm also one of the shareholders of Lindbergh, Vogel, Pierce, Ferris, and we have roots in auditing grain elevators in Kansas all the way back to the 1940s. As independent auditors, we have the responsibility to express an opinion on the fair presentation of your financial statements in accordance with accounting principles that are generally accepted in the United States. Our audit standards require that we perform the audit to obtain reasonable but not absolute assurance about whether the financial statements are free from material misstatements. Our opinion is based on audit procedures, including evaluating the appropriateness of accounting policies used, reasonableness of significant estimates made by management, and evaluating overall presentation. Please understand that a considerable amount of time is spent discussing our findings and recommendations with management, the board of directors, and employees of the co-op. All are very interested in understanding your financials and other co-op specific financial information. Again, this year, we are providing an unmodified, sometimes referred to as a clean opinion, on the financial statements. Please keep in mind that the financial statements presented during this meeting are derived from, but are not the same presentations as the ones that we audited. On behalf of Lindbergh, Vogel, Pierce, Ferris, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to be your independent auditor. Thank you.
Thank you both. It's now time for the chairman's report. I just have a few items that I want to update the membership on, if you all bear with me. First off, following CFO Kelly Dresch's financial report, the financials, they're not pretty. It was a tough year, a very tough year. Probably the toughest year in the decade that I've been on the board and beyond that. There's a myriad of factors and reasons why that is. But the bottom line is we need to do better. And we will do better. At the same time, to recap, basically, volumes were up just a little bit, flat to up. Margins, same thing, moving in the right direction anyways. Interest, still up. Depreciation, sky high on the new facility. And this is a big one, income from outside investments. Like that. Put it all together, you guys saw the chart, that's what it looks like. We're going to continue to look for ways to profitably serve you, the member, better. Now that being said, I do want to say that in looking at what we could actually move and control this year, this company executed very, very well. We were able to move double-digit trains through the new River Valley terminal. Year one. With all my contacts and everyone I've spoken with that about in the industry, the consensus is that that's an incredible feat to do in year one. There's a learning curve there. You think it's brand new, it's paid for, it should work like a top. It's the opposite of that. There's kinks to work out. There's things, and we've never done this before. We're doing this on our own. It's incredible. Year one. This is a job well done by Jeff, Mike, and his team, their teams, and is the very reason why Garden City Co-op was able to handle such a large both summer and especially fall harvest this year. When many of our competitors and neighbors, both to our east and our west and to the south here, historically have been very, very aggressive at going after bushels, historically, this year they didn't. They couldn't. Garden City Co-op still did that, still executed on that. We're able to serve our customers well during harvest because of that resource that we have. And in a year filled with uncertainty, Garden City Co-op was still able to serve our patrons that way. Which brings me to my next point of update that I feel I personally need to address, which is equity redemption. No one cares about that, right? We can just skip over that one. I'm being facetious. Okay. We get feedback every year from the membership about equity redemption. Every year. And I want everyone to know that we've heard you. Okay? We've heard you, which is why, as one of my first actions as chair of the Garden City Co-op, I asked to implement an accrual for equity redemption in the amount into our personal financials in the amount of $500,000. Now, we need to have stronger financial earnings in order to retire equity fiscally responsible. But it is our intention to start accruing for it in the amount of $500,000 every year, okay, with the hopes that when we're seeing it on our financial statements, that we can make better decisions on where to allocate earnings. As I'm sure many of you can appreciate and relate to, generally we have this much stuff that we want to do, this much stuff that we absolutely need to do, and this much capital to do it with. We have to make decisions. And it's not easy. And we don't take it lightly, I promise you. In fact, next month at our board retreat, we'll be going to take a very deep look at just how much equity this company needs to survive and thrive. We're going to take a very deep dive in that next month. We're going to do some work. I don't have an exact number on what that number is, but I do have an estimated amount that I feel it is, and it's probably more than ever. Probably need more equity than ever. We're as big as we've ever been before. We have, for decades now, voted to reinvest tens upon tens of millions of dollars back into co-op facilities, services, and infrastructure in order to keep up with and serve us, the patrons, well. Please keep this in mind as we work through these challenging and uncertain times in our country's agriculture. Last but certainly not least, and probably the silver lining, before I get into that, I wanted to make a caveat there. Your handout with the financials on it this year, the equity accrual is not in that this year. Okay, just in case you guys see some people looking, it's not in that. We hope to put it in there eventually. Last but not least, the silver lining for the year, probably the implementation of AFD in our petroleum division. This was an incredible achievement by co-op leadership and staff, something we've been working toward for many, many, many years. And quite honestly, it was to the point where I was thinking to myself that this dog just ain't gonna hunt, It's just not. In fact, we were told that by some of our partners in leadership positions. And then, right before the bell, Jeff, Jeremy, and their team got it done. It's an incredible service that adds no cost to the membership, while instead delivering much needed volume growth to our petroleum division, while at the same time serving our customers better. Well done, Jeff, Jeremy, and team. If you haven't looked into this yet, I would implore you to do so. It's pretty neat. You can fill up your tanks, all your fuel tanks, right? They put on these electronic monitors on them. You fill them all up. You don't pay a dime. Fuel sits in there. You're waiting for the optimal time, weather, whatever, to go run. You know you're good to go. You go run it when you can. You pay for what you use only, if that's what you so desire to do, only for what you use. No more phone calls on a Saturday afternoon waiting on the fuel truck or the gas truck to come out. They know. They come out, they fill it up. No more waiting for the truck. If that's what you guys want, that's how it works. And it's a great service, something I hope you all will take a look at if you haven't already. Thank you very much. If I missed anything or you guys would all like me to elaborate on anything, we're going to have a Q&A session later, and I'll be happy to do that at that time. Thank you. Next, we're going to have Jeff Boyd up for our management report.
Good afternoon, everybody. I will kind of give you some heads up or apologize immediately. My speech is going to be a little long today. We've got a lot to go over here. So, welcome again to your annual meeting. My goal today is to update you on our strategic direction of your company and give you a macro and micro agricultural environment viewpoint of how your board and the leadership staff see the grain and ag retail industries. I stand up here each year and attempt to discuss how volatile our industries are. I know I am a broken record, but wow, did we see a lot of change this past year. The changes we've experienced confirm the importance we've placed over time on more strategic decision-making processes for GCC's future. I intended to address the impact of these changes on GCC and provide insights into anticipated future developments. I feel these topics are critical as they affect the decisions we make and how GCC must continue to evolve to position the company for the future. These decisions are hard and can have an impact on how we operate. We do not take that lightly. Our strategic decisions are truly creating tomorrow today. We still believe our purpose today and tomorrow is to find ways to create value for membership. The benefit of the cooperative business model is the company is owned by the members that patronize the business. It is then governed by the members through its board of directors. Then the assets invested in and the profits generated are for the membership's benefit. This business relies on large volumes to market to help keep costs per unit lower. We operate in a geography that has unpredictable weather patterns and production systems that severely affects our needed large volumes. We are fortunate to have a stable base of production in our trade area due to irrigation, but I feel even that may drastically change in the future. This company must endure multitudes of challenges compared to a grain or ag retail business in the Corn Belt, where rain is way more reliable. We require more resources than others to uphold our core value of stable and dependable. But that is the benefit of the cooperative model. We exist to do more as a collective, member-owned business, pooling its resources than an individual can accomplish on its own. The ownership model is unique, and the United Nations has declared this the International Year of the Co-op. You may have seen this being promoted through social media by the cooperative industry, including our own social pages. Recognizing that co-ops build a better world. I have a video to share that recognizes the UN's declaration and how GCC, we try to build a better world.
The UN has declared 2025 as the Year of Cooperatives, under the theme, Cooperatives Build a Better World. Cooperatives have stood the test of time, rooted in community, driven by purpose.
For Garden City Co-op, our mission statement is cooperatively creating value, and that's rooted in that word cooperative and value. We're here because of our members. The cooperative model helps make a better world for us by the people and members working together to do something bigger than they could do on their own.
Agronomy that they help us with and suggesting what we're doing and what we should do, what we need to do to make the crops even better is a big part, you know, because I don't have the agronomy degree and the co-op provides that. I can't tell you how great the people I work with are just a phone call away and how easy it is.
Together, farmers achieve more sharing resources, knowledge, and opportunity.
We spread the cost of a $750,000 dry spreader over the cost of tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of acres instead of just what we farm. That makes it a service that people require, that they need, available at a price point that many people can afford. The co-op makes that possible.
Supporting the Garden City Co-op that allows us into a group of people for better buying power and servicing all of our needs. Just collectively, we can just do so much more.
A better world starts with empowered people, and co-ops invest in their teams.
So one thing that the co-op does for their employees is we support their learning and development. We do have a tuition reimbursement program, so if our employees would like to go back to school or take some classes, we support that 100%. We just like to see people grow within the co-op.
It's a you versus you type of thing. It's how far do you want to go. The co-op will pay for your education for as long as it applies, so I mean, you can go and get it if you want to go and get it.
Innovation fuels progress, and co-ops help farmers adopt the tools of tomorrow.
River Valley, as an example, as a shuttle loader, has the purpose of continuing to enhance our supply chain for grain exports, whether that's domestic or international. Agriculture is changing, especially in the regions that we operate. And so those facilities give us a flexibility and options to be able to do different things.
Obviously, technology keeps on growing in everything that we do, even outside of the ag world, whether that be seed and spray, drones, AI, autonomous tractors, autonomous anything. I mean, when the farmer is there, or if something is of value, we're here to help them execute adopting that new technology.
As farms grow, so does the definition of local, but the mission remains the same.
Local, used to mean 5, 10, 15 miles maybe as a definition, and today maybe that's more 30, 60 miles to go to what we would consider the next local resource. I think farms will continue to consolidate, and so local will continue to be defined.
Multiple farmers are starting to grow and take over more and more area. That causes them to become bigger, and for us, that means we need to become bigger and grow with them.
Co-ops build a better world by investing in the communities they serve.
As a board member, I get a little bit of an insight into how much co-op gives back to this local community. What is our responsibility to our shareholders to let them know just how much co-op is doing locally, down to the level of children, feeding them, supporting their agricultural endeavors and their educations. It's vast. We do things that cover the entire trade territory and beyond.
Within my role, I get to do a lot of things that not only better the cooperative world in our company, but also within our communities. One of those biggest things is getting out and sharing the story of what a cooperative is and what Garden City Co-op is. Also within that, I get to volunteer some time within our Kansas Food Bank and do some mobile food distributions, as well as really get involved in our youth and truly share our story and what it means to be in a co-op and within the agricultural industry.
We're here to be trustworthy, stable and dependable and innovative, and we want to be familiar faces to give the farmer trust in us that what we're doing for him is best for his farm or her farm. Without them being successful, we're not successful.
At GCC, we believe that when people work together, they build more than businesses. They build a better world.
First off, thank you to everybody who's willing to get in front of a camera for the interview. I know that not everybody always enjoys that, so I appreciate your time doing that. I want to kind of call out and really appreciate Dustin Ard's end statement there about the farmer and the farmer being successful. That rings so true. If you as a farm group are not successful, GCC is not successful. We want to acknowledge that the farm economy and profitability right now are not positive. The risks you take are large compared to the rewards in the current environment. This creates a lot of stress around the farm system and agricultural supply chain. So what got us here? I want to first focus on the United States macro environment events that are occurring. I also want to stress that I'm presenting these as policy issues, not politics. Traditional U.S. grain trade partners and market flows have dramatically changed in the last couple of years. Corn has been the stable commodity due to domestic demand of feed and ethanol use, with a slight shift of an increased demand into Mexico for export. The U.S. has shipped a significant amount of wheat to the Mexican markets as well. The U.S. is no longer competitive to the European, Asian, or African wheat markets. That's due to the Russian export program. Milo sorghum is the commodity that we all know has suffered the most. We always hear mostly about the effects of China on import reductions of U.S. soybeans, but milo is just as bad. You can see on this graph up here the reductions of exports to China. The dark blue line is the 2025 marketing year of imports into China. If it is hard to see that blue line, it is because it's essentially zero after March of 2025. This next graph is a comparison of the U.S. milo export inspections between the 23-24 USDA marketing year and the 24-25. This highlights the significant reduction of milo exports of the U.S. as a country. It is a loss of almost 150 million bushels of milo. And so GCC was very much affected by this trade evolution, and we had to look for other markets for your milo. I was pleased. We were able to find some export opportunities and exported milo into Mexico, the Caribbean, and even to Africa. We're fortunate that we also have ethanol plants locally that utilize sorghum. I appreciate the work that our trading partners continue to accomplish to develop new international trade markets, such as Mexico and Southeast Asia. We have a large concern that the traditional markets, such as China, will take a long time, if ever, to return to the import volumes that they once received previously from the U.S. grain industry. I will also believe some of the recent trade deal commitments when we see them. The U.S. grain industry has been overtaken in production and economic competitiveness by Brazil and the rest of the South American production, especially when tariffs are considered. That leaves us with limited domestic demand sources. Tariffs and anti-dumping rulings are impacting international fertilizer markets as well, which is resulting in increased input costs at your farm gate. Some of the food ingredient supply chains are also being disrupted due to demographic shifts, diet changes, and policies such as the Make America Healthy Again movement. From a macro ag policy perspective, I also think it's going to be that the ability to get a traditional farm bill passed through Congress is going to be difficult. The separation of food support programs from farm support programs will make it problematic for unilateral support from our legislative branch. Taking a more local, micro-environment viewpoint, we have seen changes here as well. Wheat traditionally went to the flour mill markets in central and eastern Kansas, and has now been moving north in greater volumes more frequently due to the demand pulls of the gluten facilities at Phillipsburg and Russell, Kansas. Everyone has also seen the large growth of the dairies in this area. This has contributed to competition for crops grown on an acre, with triticale being a large forage source. The diversification of production, in my opinion, brings benefits to the farmers. It gives you more options. The different crops create opportunities as well for our agronomy group. But the bigger need for forage is not necessarily beneficial for a grain elevator. Focusing on that grain system. River Valley has been operational now for 1 year. Overall, as Clayton was saying, I've been happy with the value that the facility has brought to GCC so far, especially considering the lack of milo exports that I described earlier. Having rail access in the GCC system to the K&O short line in the Dighton area, the BNSF at Holcomb, and the Union Pacific at Hooker has been advantageous. For this past fiscal year, we had reduced milo crop to move from the fall of 2024's harvest and a good wheat harvest from the summer of 2025. Even with the overall smaller volumes, we still shipped approximately over 2,700 cars out of the whole GCC rail system. I will also share that we shipped double-digit unit trains out of River Valley in this past fiscal year. We do consider our rail volumes that we share there proprietary, and we do not share the full exact numbers of the volume data that we ship, as we feel that these can have an economic effect on the markets that we trade in, as it creates supply and demand information signals to the market. The facility has achieved more of its planned purpose of additional value through the speed and space and our ability to control more of our own supply chain. This August and September, as an example, we executed a large wheat export program that allowed us to move the 2025 wheat harvest out of our country elevator network to prepare and make space for the anticipated large fall crop we knew was coming. This execution allowed us to have more space available in the elevators that you delivered to, which also allowed us, it may not seem like it, but it actually allows us to have less grain on the ground, even though we know we have a lot on the ground, which reduces our risks exposures. We actually also get paid quicker when we ship by rail in that way from the grain buyers. And we all did this all while managing the flow of grain with our own truck fleet and rail assets. We do not feel that we would have been able to capture all of these benefits in the past without our own rail facility. We were able to control more of our own supply chain, one of the primary purposes of this investment. The grain flow through this facility to this point has been sourced from our elevators and direct off-farm grain. We will continue to expand the off-farm grain program as we build up relationships with the end users that enables us to take positions in the market. Again, the export market has been very limited this past year, which forced us to prioritize our elevator bushels over those farm bushels for export. Farmer direct grain also will not always occur during harvest periods. That is usually one of the lowest value times to ship out new crop grain. For example, this fall harvest, we were shipping wheat out of River Valley to maximize its value, not milo. Switching over to agronomy, the low 24-hour liquid fertilizer service has been a hit. Expanding our capabilities to allow you to access liquid fertilizer when you need it without relying on our facilities to be open, I think brings a lot of value. The low and Plymel fertilizer capabilities differentiate us in this market. This automation allows us to serve you better while helping us reduce our operational costs. We also recently upgraded our Dighton liquid fertilizer plant from a manual batching system to a mass flow metered system. This will improve the efficiency of this plant and allow for more volume throughput for the operations staff at that location. I do have concerns about our current macro and micro ag environments. While interest rates have fallen recently, this expense has been a much bigger line item for your farms and the co-op. It can have a large impact on the income statement and cash flow. We continue to manage our interest rate exposure with interest rate swaps, which are currently positioned to hedge us against interest rates going higher, as well as to protect us against a large drop. Our current notes payable debt for the company is our seasonal operating line of credit, River Valley, and the Hooker term debt that we assumed during that merger, which that particular note will be paid off in 2027. This past year, we paid off, as Kelly mentioned, the remaining notes on the Rock Island elevator and a term revolver. For capital leases, we have a couple of bunkers that will be paid off next year. Kelly went through those details on our financials, but I do want to point out that while our interest rate expenses and depreciation were up significantly, we did generate positive cash flow. Our operations are generating positive cash after all the expenses and term debt payments were made. I also worry about protecting your company against cybersecurity threats. Your data is important to us, and we make efforts to ensure it's kept private. The sophistication of attacks makes it hard for us to stay in front of this issue. In the last few years, agricultural co-ops have been targeted specifically in ransomware attacks. We continue to invest time and financial resources into protecting the company from these particular attacks. We are putting a larger focus in the coming year to help educate our employees on prevention, response planning, as well as additional equipment upgrades and protections. Labor availability continues to be a challenge. I can report that I think the labor market feels slightly better, but our industry continues to struggle to fill certain roles. The labor workforce priorities are different today than in the past. Work-life balance, exposure to dirty environments or hazardous chemicals, long hours, rural versus urban amenities, career advancement opportunities are just some of the examples of hurdles that we are working through to attract quality talent. While we have great employee benefits, the cost of our programs, such as our health insurance, continues to climb, which reduces our employees' take-home pay. We continue to focus on our employees' experience and ensure that they have a positive culture. We focus on our systems and our processes to ensure that they are continually improving. We want our employees to have a great work environment and to always go home safely. Regulations are increasingly complex for an ag business as well. We risk losing effective chemistry modes of action, such as atrazine. The criteria to allow us to custom spray chemicals now have even more requirements depending on the product we're applied. Even some of our accounting practices have had to be adjusted to meet revenue recognition requirements. Operating within the agricultural sector has become increasingly complex as additional regulatory obstacles continue to arise. The one piece of good news is that the tax bill passed this year did make Section 199A G permanent law. That allows your board to have the DPAD tax deduction to continue to exist, giving your board the option to pass through that to you, the member, as the benefit. Inflationary costs on goods and services are another factor that we have seen all affecting every aspect of our lives. Everything costs more today. We continue to see insurance costs go up, but we're working to balance our risk management with what coverage levels and values we are insuring for. The industry in general is paying more for insurance with higher deductibles for less coverage. I know you are seeing similar trends on your own farms. The grain industry is struggling even with the availability of insurance coverage due to the risks our industry brings to the reinsurance markets. Some are turning to other methods of insurance to protect their assets. Part of the increased risk our industry brings is due to the age of our facilities. This includes the facilities that you own here. These concrete elevators were built with a useful life of 50 years. Most of our elevators were built in the 1950s or earlier. We do have some elevators that have bins that are now almost 100 years old. We continue to have bins that we must remove from service because they are no longer structurally sound. The cost to reline them is also becoming more not economically wise because the reinvestment returns are just not there. The safety requirements within our facilities continue to increase as well. Unfortunately, there have been some significant elevator safety incidents in our industry. These events require the industry to look at itself and make sure proper equipment is in place and proper procedures are followed, or if upgrades are required, such as hazardous monitoring equipment. These systems can come with a steep cost to maintain and update. The ability to replace aging storage with new just does not pencil out in every situation. We will have to make some hard decisions with some of our facilities as they continue to be used beyond their useful life. This is also the case with our current dry fertilizer facility at Lowe. This dry shed is reaching the end of its useful life. Our volumes have also outgrown the current facility from an effectiveness standpoint. Trevor Witt is working to see what would make the most sense for replacing this facility in the long run. This will not be a facility we will most likely can immediately address, though, as we weigh working capital expenditure opportunities against equity retirements, as well as maintaining bank covenants. These increasing costs are a challenge for the grain and ag retail wholesale landscape. The challenges bring into question the sustainability of current business models. I've seen data that shows that in this current environment, a co-op that has no operating expense increases needs to have a compounding annual sales growth of 6.5% each year just to maintain itself due to operating margin erosion over time. This applies to the farmer landscape as well. It is a difficult environment to create profits using traditional methods. We also recognize that this weighs on the farmer's mental health. We see these struggles that some of our customers go through in these difficult environments. Please know that you're not alone. I'll repeat that when the farmer is in challenging times, so is your co-op. What does the future look like then? What resources are required worldwide for food production? Where are they going to be sourced from? And how do global trade flows distribute them? I'm not sure if many of you have seen charts like this one before, but as you can see, China's population has peaked. They are that red line on the chart. They are projecting to lose half of their population in the next 75 years. Population is going to continue to grow in India, which is that orange line, and parts of Africa. This means our traditional trading partners are going to evolve more as time goes by if we want to export our products. We also know as countries increase their middle class populations, their diets change, and the source of protein becomes more animal-based protein. Population demographics always win. As I mentioned earlier, I believe South America will continue to displace the U.S. for a large amount of the grains we grow in the United States for global trade. They have more acres to bring into production. And the last numbers I was hearing last week is they can bring 55 million more acres into production. Their climate also gives them an advantage with safrinha crops. The scale of production economics and less current regulatory hurdles gives them an advantage. I do believe, though, that the U.S. has the capability to win in a food quality aspect. I'm confident that our global food production and consumption systems will continue to transform. I also do think we will continue to see technology and artificial intelligence improve production efficiencies. We will see more automation and visual recognition technologies help improve labor needs and create micro-farming capabilities. I can envision when your equipment actually gets smaller and more in quantity versus the larger equipment we operate today. The challenge we see in these cycles is the cost of adoption. New technologies come with a higher cost for those early adopters. I see the technological benefits and costs applying to your co-op as well. We are already seeing productivity gains in small tests utilizing AI. I think we will recognize the initial AI benefits in our accounting groups first. Software will become smarter, and our employees will make more decisions with data instead of just manually creating transactions. River Valley today has an automated grain grading system that tests the grain for protein, moisture, test weight, dockage, with minimal human intervention. We know we will have the capabilities to test other quality factors such as odor or IDK in the future without human interaction. There are rail systems that exist today that use artificial intelligence and camera systems to remove the rail seals, open the car lid, close the car lid, and apply the new seals using robotics, eliminating the need for an employee on top of a rail car, greatly improving safety and efficiency. For GCC, our energy department is close to going live with a new accounting package that utilizes data more effectively for their industry. Our shared services group is also reviewing a new accounting package that includes AI capabilities. I believe we will continue to use technology to help us provide better services to you while maintaining those critical human relationships. I believe the future will also see more evolution on what grains are grown locally and what destinations they have. I think forage sources will continue to become more critical as that dairy industry expands. End users are also wanting more quality of the grain they source. We are seeing more end users adjust their discount schedules to incentivize the grain quality factors they're desiring. This is why you see our discount schedules changing more frequently. The wheat industry is focusing on cleaner grain with higher protein and stricter test weight specs. We ourselves have experienced higher discount costs and more rejections due to tighter quality specifications. While we will adjust our discount schedules to reflect the industry requirements, we are insulating you, the farmer, from some of these modifications and not passing those full discount schedules on in our side of it. That's a benefit of pooling your grain through your co-op. The demographic of our farmer continues to evolve as well. The USDA publishes every year that the average age of the farmer continues to get older. We continue to see more absentee and institutional landowners. They have different expectations for farming practices or financial returns. The average farm size in our trade territory continues to increase in acres as well. You are running significant businesses. I encourage you to please succession plan for your farm. These are difficult decisions, but there are more resources available all the time to help plan through a future farm transition. With the increased farm size and capabilities, think about how quickly you can harvest your crop now and deliver it with those trucks to the elevator or an end user. We saw the effects of this in this last fall harvest. The large harvest forced the grain system to essentially become plugged with the fast delivery of crops. The cost for the grain handler to keep up with this pace is extremely high. We can do other storage options, such as more ground piles, but these have trade-offs, such as higher quality risks and more potential for grain loss. You can also plant, fertilize, and spray more acres in less time than in the past. That's why we continue to focus on growth. As the farmer gets bigger, GCC must grow to be able to support the system. We cannot stay stagnant. I do have expectations that it is also not just bigger, but we must continually get better. With all these changes, what does better mean? What must the co-op of the future look like? What is its purpose? What farmer segment are we most capable of serving? What are we capable of doing to be relevant to your farms? I challenged my team recently, what traditions do we need to kill, and what new ones do we need to create? Your board and I do not have all of the answers to these questions, but we're always working towards tackling these in our strategic planning. In planning for the future, I can tell you, today's focus is controlling what we can control. There are a lot of factors influencing our industries right now that we cannot fix alone. Not everything is okay in our industry, but we are trying to be successful by what we can control. We have a focus on our employee group. We want to attract and retain the best talent that we can. We diligently review opportunities that we have and work to take advantage of the ones we are capable of. We are focusing on where GCC can grow. We must grow and need to grow to stay relevant for your farms. Then, we are focusing on what we call business excellence. What are our processes, and how do we make them better? How do we leverage ourselves for better opportunities and outcomes? How do we become more efficient and effective across the whole company? How do we reduce our operating costs? Please know that we invest time and effort into getting better. With this year's financial loss, one of those disappointing outcomes is that your board was not able to retire equity this year, choosing to maintain working capital for balance sheet strength. I can report that your board, as Clayton mentioned, does prioritize equity retirement when the cash flow and the balance sheet allow it. In the past 5 years, we have paid over $2.7 million in equity retirements through estates and inactive redemptions. We continue to have conversations about how we can retire more equity while balancing the funding needs of this company. Your equity gives us the capital to buy the grain and hold it for more value later. It allows us to position ourselves in the market on fertilizer so that it is available when you need it. Your equity funds this business now and for the future. We are in an unstable economic environment that requires a larger pool of equity to weather this storm. We continue to evaluate how much equity this company needs to run, not for just today, but for the future. Scale matters, in our business. And we need to stay relevant for your farms, which requires more equity. I did a random exercise this fall. We have the original handwritten general ledger journals from 1920. I looked at the equity balances for some of the farmers listed in that journal. It was interesting to see some of the same family names in that book that still do business with us today. In April of 1920, GCC had $12,800 of stock equity on its balance sheet. It appeared that each member owned 2 shares of stock at a $100 par value each for a total of $200. That investment in today's dollars compared to 1920 is equal to $3,248. Today, our par value is $50 a share. In 1920's dollars, that is equal to $3.08. The point is that it takes a lot more equity today to support this business than it did in 1920. To conclude my report, agriculture is quickly evolving at macro and micro levels, and you, the owner and customer of this business, are changing rapidly. We are striving today to position ourselves for the future and to still provide value. That value just may look different in the future. This is an expensive process as this industry's invested capital. Those returns take a long time to realize. We have a low margin industry, and large investments take a long time to pay off, which is why the cooperative model exists. We work together to do things others won't invest in because of risks and return. We are focusing on what we feel we have control over, which is our processes, our services, our technology, and our talent. We are focusing on generating cash and being efficient on our cost structure side. We do not like the local or net income financial results from this year, but we continue to adjust to the markets, be more consistent in our profitability. We're building a culture of continuous improvement around our systems. I do want to thank our employee group for the efforts that they made this past year. It was not an easy year. We have experienced and created a lot of changes in the past few years. So thank you for your commitment. Thank you to our partners within our supply chain for weathering the storms with us as well. Finally, and most importantly, thank you to the farmer members of the co-op, especially the ones in the room today, for your business and your commitment to your company through hard times and good. Your board and employee group are committed to cooperatively creating value for you and your farms. Thank you. I will now ask Joanna Schmeckley to come up and do the nominating committee report.
Good afternoon. The nominating committee met to determine qualified candidates for the open board directors positions. The committee was chaired by myself, Joanna Schmeckley. There are 2 positions open this year. The candidates the committee places into nomination are Chris Fulmer, Kyle Deaver, and Shane Browning. Chris Fulmer and Kyle Deaver currently serve as directors, and Shane Browning serves as an associate director. I will now call on Shane Browning for his associate director report.
Thank you, Joanna. Hello, everyone. My name's Shane Browning. I farm northeast of Ulysses, and I've been an associate on the board for the last 3 years. In those 3 years, I've learned a lot about how a co-op operates, and I've gotten to spend some time getting to know the team running the co-op as well. And a great team it is. With smart leadership, they've developed a strong, winning culture that will keep the co-op viable and valuable for many years to come. The board tackles tough decisions that guide the direction of the co-op, none of which are taken lightly. Also, in my time on the board, it has shown me just how much Garden City Co-op gives back to the communities they serve. I'm a proud member of this cooperative, and I would recommend anyone interested in learning more about the co-op business to reach out to the board members and give the associate program a chance. Thank you to the Garden City Co-op, the board, and all the members for this opportunity. Thank you.
And I'm going to go off script for just a second, and I want to also give a plug for the Associate Director Program. If you get approached about becoming an associate member, I would suggest giving it a chance. It's a great way to learn more about being a board of director and your cooperative, and I just think that it's just a great way for us as a cooperative to educate the associate directors to move on into a director's position. And everyone that we have on our associates right now, directors, would be wonderful board directors. And so I just want to give a plug for it. It's a great thing that we do. Now we are going to conduct our election of the 2 open director seats. When you registered, you should have received a ballot to cast your vote. Before we start, though, I would like to ask, do we have any nominations from the floor? If there are none, I would ask for a motion to close the nominations. Okay, it has been moved. Do I have a second? Okay. It has been moved and seconded to close the nominations. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay. Per our bylaws, the 2 directors receiving the highest votes will be elected. At this time, please mark your ballot for up to 2 members to serve as directors. We will have tellers roaming to collect your ballots, and the results will be announced after the question and answer session.
This time we would move into the business portion of our meeting. There is no old business and no new business. So we're going to move on to the more fun time where we recognize employees for their tenure and commitment to this company, and also retirements.
Give some time here to let you keep passing those ballots in. Okay, so every year we like to give a recognition to our employee group, that talent that I discussed just a second ago. Of those, all right, we're back. Of those employees and their tenure that they've worked here. So we'll start out with the 5-year pins. So if I could have Antoinette, Lindy, Hugo, Doug, Maribel, Tyler, Martine, and Michael Wisner come forward. If you will come up here to my right, your left, and make a line past Molly. So first up, Mike Wisner. Mike is our grain VP, and he is officed out of our main office in Garden City. Next, Antoinette Heinitz. Antoinette handles our grain accounts receivable, and she does that out of our main office in Garden City. Next, Maribel Vasquez, who's a grain accounting clerk at our Ulysses office. And then next, Hugo Reveles, who's our Deerfield and Laken elevator branch manager. Next, Lindy McMillan, who I know a lot of you know. She is our director of grain trading and offices both out of our Dighton and Garden City offices. Next, Doug Warner, who is in agronomy sales and is based out of our Hooker, Oklahoma location. Thank you. That's all of our 5-year pins. Next, we do 10 years. If I get in Mark Vance and Juan Perez also come up. It's a long walk from the back corner, Mark. First up, who's going first? First, we have Mark Vance. Mark is an agronomy salesperson up out of our Dighton location. So he handles all of our Dighton, Scott County, that area. Next, Juan Perez. Juan is a grain elevator operator at our Hooker location. That's our 2 for a 10-year. Thank you. Good job. Next, 15-year pins. And I think I know at least 2 of them are here. But Tony, Victor, and Michael Davis, if you would come up. I'm sure Tony Salazar is busy. He is our director of agronomy operations for the whole company, so he's not able to be here. But Victor Duarte is our low elevator branch manager. Many of you remember he used to be at our garden elevator. And Michael Davis is an IT engineer who actually works remotely for us. Thank you, great job. That's 15 years. Next, retirements. So we have 3 to recognize this year for retirements. And one of them was here previously, but unfortunately had to leave for an appointment. But Danny Allen was a spray rig driver operator for us in our Dighton area, and he had been with us for 7 years, and so he's just recently retired. Diane Yates, want to recognize her for 2 things actually. She's not able to be here, but she earned her 5-year pin this year and also retired. She was a grain accounting clerk at our Hooker location, and so she had worked for us as well as Hooker Equity prior to the merger. Finally, a great one, Christine Murphy. Chris, if you would come up. Many of you know Chris. She works and manages a lot of your equity. She creates our financial statements, things like that for us. Chris has announced a retirement and will be retiring at the end of December. She's our controller, and she has been with us for 44 years. So, well earned and well deserved. We get to have a retirement party reception for her at the end of next week. So, with that, that's our employee recognition. Thank you. Next, Q&A.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Ms. Murphy, for 44 years of service to this great company. That's I've been on the planet for 43 years. So it's very impressive. Thank you. At this time, I'll take your questions.
We do have a mic, please, so everybody can hear. It's a big room.
Any questions at all? Anything you guys want to tell us? Any dad nammets or attaboys, we take those too. Lord forbid. All right, well, to keep this moving, sorry? That meeting question? Okay, if you guys are like me and you think of it later, what you should have asked, we'll be around here after. We're gonna have a quick reorg meeting on the board. We'll be around, just come find one of us. We'll be happy to go over anything you guys think of later. Appreciate it.
Same with staff.
Good job. To keep the meeting rolling, we're going to move into even more fun. 5 redemptions of $1,000 of early equity retirement. Gordon Drees is going to run that for us. Thank you.
Yeah, so as Clayton mentioned, we're going to give 5 $1,000 equity redemptions away. So as you walked in, you would have got a ticket. Please have those available. We're going to start drawing those now. And if I call your ticket, please hold your hand up in the air. Somebody will be over there to get your ticket and get your name. Make sure we get your information. And you can redeem your equity at the Garden City main office. The first number, 1281686. One, 1686.
Oh. Got Boyd.
All right.
Boyd Funk.
Second number, 1281776.
Rigged.
All right.
You're welcome.
Megan, we want to check those up a little bit better?
Did you check the ticket?
Yeah. Thank you.
I want to see your number.
Okay. 1281730.
Esther Johnston.
Esther?
Okay. Number 4. 1281600. All right, last one. 1281589. Tom Clausen. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. We have the vote tabulated for the election results. Congratulations to Kyle Deaver and our new director, Shane Browning. They are your directors-elect. Thank you, gentlemen, for running, and thank you all for running. Again, thank you all for being here today. I really appreciate it. This time I'll take a motion to adjourn. Is there a motion?
I heard somebody, I think, this way.
Is there a second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. See y'all next year. Merry Christmas and God bless you. Thank you.